advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Fronti.
Well, I'll let you in on a secret here just in a couple of minutes, right? Because one of the things that I want you to be involved in is our show. So you can do that at donandgino.com. Hit watch, chat, and listen live. And you can see us here in the studio with Mr. Paul Gonzales with Troop Real Estate. And joining me today in lieu of Don Getling is Dennis Kotzman with Cherry Creek Mortgage. I've had the pleasure of knowing you now for a little bit, Dennis, and I've lost some hair along the way and lost some pounds too recently.
Well, you know, I can't do anything about the hair, but the pounds, you look fantastic.
Oh,
and I just might say, Paul has more hair than the two of us together.
He does. Isn't that amazing?
And none of it's gray.
No. He's you know what? Actually, let's talk about that for 1 second, Paul, because every time I see you, and I'm not directly about that. This is not like a Rogaine show or anything like that. But
I don't spray, man. I swear.
So actually what I wanted to touch base on is, you know, this could be a very stressful industry. We talk about that all the time. And I think one of the unique things to take perspective on is to have a life, right? Sometimes in our industry we forget. And I know you're an avid surfer. So is that the secret to keeping good hair?
Well, I like to think so. It's fun, if nothing else. Yeah, surfing, I think. Avid I can't use anymore. I used to surf twice a week, and I'm lucky if I get out once a month now. But yeah, balance is really important in anybody's life, and that's one of the things that we talk about in the company. But having balance in whatever you do, if you're sitting at home and you're listening to this radio station, work on having balance in your life. It is the utmost of importance.
So I'll paint a little example. When I was younger, I used to believe that I was able to find balance by living in the extremes. And then I realized, no, that's just an average. That's not balance at all.
Yeah, that's right.
And so as I matured, we'll call it, learning to find a little more balance in my life. And hence, Afterburn Fitness and losing the pounds and all that, it's all part of the whole balanced idea as I raised my family here in Santa Clarita. And we were talking about what I wanted to share is the secret, right? Because a lot of times what people wonder is, what do we talk about in the breaks? You know, it's what they can't hear, right? So I think we kind of really unraveled what's happening in the real estate market during the break. And I think it's important we share that is the number one opportunity in this normal market is for the move-up buyer. I mean, the conditions are just absolutely prime for the move-up buyers. So tell us a little bit how a move-up buyer looks, and then Dennis, after that, if you could tell us how they make some money doing that.
Well, the move-up buyer, right now, you know, we're in a family community. And what I'm seeing is we're right at that perfect time where I have a lot of growing pains. There's a lot of people that have bought that 2-bedroom. Now they have 2 and 3 children, and it's time to move up, and they're not sure. They're a little concerned. It's like, well, when's the right time? Should I do it now? Should I wait till school? And strictly, like I said from the beginning of this segment, move-up buying is right now pretty much a no-brainer from my point of view. We have a tremendous amount of opportunities and some great inventory coming on board. People in the homes that we're moving up to are usually people that are starting to slow down, and they're moving down, moving out, retiring, doing things of that nature. So your opportunities on that side of it are great. When you're thinking about waiting, I would have to ask that just do some simple math. And if you're talking about we're having an average appreciation, and we have been able to talk about appreciation, and I've been afraid to talk about that for quite a long time because I don't want to steer somebody askew. And my crystal ball says we're going to continue to appreciate. And most importantly, I believe what I'm seeing, so I wouldn't profess something that wasn't there. If you just do the math, if you take 5% of $400,000 and then you take 5% of $700,000, if I'm going to move up and I'm going to sell my home and I'm buying, well, ultimately your 5% of $700,000 is going to net gain you more money. And that takes all the angst out of, let's take away the passion. We want to move up to a home. This has been our dream home. Take away everything. Just look at it strictly from a financial point of view right now at this moment. And I think that this is a perfect time to purchase. What do you think, Dennis?
Well, I think historically too, Paul, you're getting a different type of home, let's say. If you're a first-time home buyer, you're buying a certain home. You're getting into the home that perhaps you're starting your family. You may or may not have children yet. You might only need 2 bedrooms, maybe 3. But
One
then,
for Johnny, as Don would like to say.
right? Or, yeah.
Or Susie.
But when you start moving into that move-up property, that's usually the aspiration property. So when we start getting appreciation in the market, you might get, I'm going to use a word here, disparate appreciation rates, right?
Right.
Your first home might appreciate 3 to 4% a year. Your aspiration property might appreciate 6 to 7.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring up the point that luxurious properties tend to appreciate in a good market at a
Right.
higher rate than properties that have less luxurious features. So
Absolutely.
let's make probably the easiest comparison so that we could break it down. A single family residence is going to appreciate at a better rate, this is a general statement, than a condominium.
Correct.
Okay, and some condominiums have seen incredible appreciation over the last 2 years, only because they were at the rock bottom, because they were undesirable for some time or unlendable for some time.
Yeah, basically slammed.
Yeah. So, but right now, going into this normal market that we're seeing, history says that a single-family residence will appreciate more than a condominium. Let's take that one level further, which is what I was thinking you were alluding to, is a pool home, or a room with or a home with a loft, or a room with a house with an extra bedroom, or a great landscape, or a view. Paul, is that realistic? Is that what you've seen over the last years?
Yeah, that's what we've seen, and it's funny, going back to Troop Real Estate and talking about the company a little bit, is we have our own fine estate properties division, and
Okay.
we've established that 7 years ago, mainly because you have to have a different line of marketing, you have to have a different clientele that you want to market that to quickly and efficiently, and the technologies to back that up. But we do the numbers at the end of the year, and you are right on the money. We have found that homes even in the last 24 months, in that 700 to $1.3 million, when I know it's a big chunk, and not everybody can afford that, but those have outperformed any other price point in our market in Southern California.
That is some insight that I haven't heard anywhere else before. So thanks for tuning into the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show for the super secret. So now, how do we all buy a house in the $700,000 to $1.3 million range? That's a little more difficult, but Dennis, you can help them with that, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's probably no surprise when you get up into that price range, the lending is different, but you're also usually dealing with a different clientele. So maybe they would accept an ARM versus a fixed. Maybe they would do an interest-only loan versus a fully amortizing loan. But that type of buyer knows that type of financing. So
Right.
we offer it all.
Yeah, in fact, so one of the things, Dennis, actually, you just alluded to is I've been having a lot of discussions around adjustable rate mortgages lately. And I know that's like this horrible bad word. 72,000 people just turned off the radio when I said that. But the easiest way that I'm going to present that, just so that we know what we're talking about, is a 7-year adjustable rate mortgage today at its rates that it's at compared to a basic 30-year mortgage, when used appropriately, will outperform the 30-year mortgage from a greater than 10-year mark.
Right.
So if you're going to be in a home for less than 10 years, it's the appropriate tool for you. And you have to discuss that with a professional like Dennis to make sure that you have all the resources necessary, the discipline, the job profile, the time horizon. There's so many aspects that we look at here at Cherry Creek Mortgage to make sure that that's the right product for you. But I think it's something that's been hot.
Well, I think the key there, Gino, is what you said, used appropriately, and part of an overall strategy, okay? Because I have a Newsweek article on my computer right now that says the option ARM was the best loan ever created.
I actually, to be honest with you, I probably believe that I've said that at least 100 times in my life as a lender. There's nothing better in the world as a borrower than to have options.
Right.
And so it was a great product. It was just given to the wrong people.
Right.
And I think
Exactly.
that ultimately we as professionals in our industry need to make sure, like you've mentioned, Paul, earlier, is we have to make sure that we give our borrowers and our clients that are looking to find the dream of home ownership the right tools and the right plan based on their specific needs and goals?
Well, I think, I've heard this a couple different times from both of you, and I think it's so important when you use the words mortgage professional, real estate professional. I think our viewers, our listeners, have to really, now's the time to go out and find the consummate professionals and make your own decision. But you need to talk, and I have there's no financial givings between, Cherry Creek Mortgage and Troop. But I want my clients to talk to people like you. I need professional people that I can rest my name, my company, and I'll be able to sleep at night. And this industry is all around either good press or bad. And the only way to clear that press up is to find out for yourself through a consummate professional.
So I know I'm sitting here with two professionals today, and I really appreciate both of you taking the time to join me from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. every Thursday. I wish we could do this every single day because it's the highlight of my week. Paul, thank you for joining us today. Paul Gonzales with Troop Real Estate, giving you some insight on what's happening and a little culture behind Troop Real Estate. And Dennis Kotzman with Cherry Creek Mortgage. Thanks, boys, for joining me and really making just a good chat, sitting around the table and giving some good advice to our listeners.
It's always a lot of fun, and thanks for having me, and I'm available anytime.
And I'm honored to be here with Paul Gonzales and play the talking head for Don.
Well, stick around next week. Don Getling will be back, and we'll do the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Stick around.